Let's talk about the most dangerous addiction you have right now. And nope, it's not your phone and it's not caffeine.
It's your addiction to being the expert. And honestly, it might just be the one thing that's holding you back from your next big move.
So how in the world do we break an addiction like that? Well, we're going to tackle that awful feeling, the I'm too old to start over feeling, by exploring this really powerful Zen concept called Shoshin, the beginner's mind. This might be exactly what you need for that tough midlife pivot.
Okay, first things first. Let's really dig into why this expert mindset is so quietly destructive, especially when you're trying to make a huge change in your career.
I want you to just imagine this for a second. You're at a point in your life where you thought you'd be secure, you'd be settled, but instead, you're starting over. And it doesn't matter if you were laid off or if you chose to leave. That feeling in the pit of your stomach, it is real. It can feel like a deep personal humiliation.
Or maybe you've had this exact moment. You're in an interview, and the hiring manager sitting across the table is maybe 24 years old, and your brain just screams, I have socks older than this kid, I shouldn't be here, I should be at the top. Man, that is a bitter pill to swallow. An experience like that can make you feel like an empty vessel, Like all your experience just got poured down the drain. But what if the problem is the exact opposite? What if your cup is actually too full?
This is such a powerful way to reframe it. You feel empty, right? Like your experience has been totally devalued. But the truth, according to Zen philosophy, is that you're actually too full. Full of past successes, full of old ways of doing things, and full of this rigid identity that leaves zero room for anything new to get in.
There's this perfect Zen story that just nails this idea. It starts with a very wealthy, very accomplished university professor who decides to go visit a famous Zen master to learn all about Zen. But here's the thing. The professor wasn't really there to learn. He was there to impress. He sits down and just starts talking and talking and talking, going on and on about his degrees, his big theories, his opinions. He was just broadcasting his expertise, leaving no space for anything new.
The Zen master, he just smiled patiently, picks up the teapot and starts pouring tea into the professor's cup. He poured until the cup was full, and then he just kept pouring. The tea starts overflowing, right? Spilling all over the table, all over the professor's expensive clothes. And the professor jumps up and shouts, "Stop! Are you blind? The cup is full. No more will go in."
The master just calmly puts down the pot and says, "Like this cup, you are full of your own opinions and speculations. How can I teach you anything unless you first empty your cup?" Wow. That's the moment of truth right there, isn't it?
And that story, it leads us right to the solution. What the master was asking the professor to do was to practice what's known as Shoshin.
Shoshin is this concept from Zen Buddhism, and it literally translates to beginner's mind. It's all about the practice of approaching things with the same curiosity, the same openness, and the same lack of assumptions as a true beginner would.
And this is the core idea. Think about it. When you're a beginner, everything is a possibility. You don't know what can't be done, so you're willing to try anything. But when you're an expert, your mind is often just cluttered with all the rules and all the reasons why something won't work.
So let's actually put these two mindsets side by side. You'll see pretty quickly the huge difference between clinging to that old expertise and embracing being a beginner again.
Let's break this down. The expert's mind? It sees very few possibilities. Its identity is totally stuck on a past title, and it is terrified of being wrong. But the beginner's mind, it sees endless possibilities. Its identity is just a curious student, and it's driven by exploration, not by the fear of failure.
And this is exactly why that I was a VP mindset is such a dangerous trap. You're busy defending a past identity, and that defensiveness makes you rigid. It stops you from adapting, from growing, from thriving in a world that is always changing.
So here's the crucial point, and if you take away one thing, let it be this. Thinking like a beginner is not a step backward. It is not admitting defeat. It is a profound liberation from the crushing weight of having to have all the answers all the time.
And this freedom, it's so powerful. It means you're free to explore new paths without judging yourself. You're free to ask those so-called stupid questions that, let's be honest, often unlock the most brilliant answers. And you are finally free to innovate because you're no longer chained to the way we've always done things.
So it all comes back to that teacup, doesn't it? You have to consciously choose to empty it. You cannot possibly taste the fresh, new opportunities sitting right in front of you if you're still swishing around the stale dregs of your last career. You've got to let it go.
Which brings us to one final and maybe the most important question. This is the one I want you to really sit with for a minute. Ask yourself this and be brutally honest. Are you really struggling because you don't have the skills you need to succeed in this new chapter? Or are you struggling because deep down, some part of you thinks your past title and your old experience make you too important to start over and learn again?
Subscribe for daily wisdom.